Good morning, everyone. Let's do some prayers and start our Thursday class. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitra Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat, Asto Ma Satgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityorma Mritam Gamya. ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सवीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 ओम. We are going to start the new section today. The name of this section, according to the message, is Antaryami Brahman. And in this section, again, it's the same chapter where all these priests and the rishis, they're asking the questions for clarifications to Rishi Yajnavalkya. So in this section, the question is asked by Udlak. He is the son of Arun. And he wants to know the Antaryami. Antaryami is the internal ruler, and the Sutraman. Sutraman is a cosmic string holding all the worlds together. Sutraman, the immortal, eminent soul. Okay, so these are the two words which will come again and again in this section. So let's open our books on page number 225. Pretty long mantra, look at that. Almost a whole page long. अथ हैनम उदालक आरुनिः पप्रच्छ याज्ञवल्क्यः इति ह उवाच मदरेष्व अवसाम पतंजलस्य कपस्य गृहेषु यज्ञम् अधियानः तस्य असिधार्या गंधर्वगृहीता तं प्रपछाय को असि इति को अब्रवीत अत्कबंध आर्य अथर्वन इति सो अब्रवीत पतंजलम काप्यम याज्ञे काश्यश्व वेतथनु त्वं काप्ये तत्सूत्रम ये नायम च लोकः प्रपश्च लोकः सर्वाणि च भूतानि सदम्बानि भवन्ति इति सो अब्रवीत पतंजलः काप्यः नाहं तद भगवत वेद इति सो अब्रवीत पतंजलम काप्यम याज्ञे काश्यश्व वेतथ नु त्वं काप्ये तमन्त अंतर्यामिनं य इमं च लोकं परं च लोकं सर्वाणि च भूतानि यो अंतरो यम्य इति सो अयं पतंजलः काप्यः नाहं तं भगवन् वेदिति सो अब्रवीति पतंजलम काप्यम याज्ञे काश्यश्व यो वे तत् काप्य सूत्रम विद्यातम च अंतर्यामी इति स ब्रह्मवित् स लोकवित् स देववित् स वेदवित् स भूतवित् स आत्मवित् सर्ववेद इति तेभ्यो अब्रवीत् तद अहं वेद तत् एच्त्वं याज्ञवल्क्यः सूत्रम विद्वांसं च अंतर्यामिनं ब्रह्म गविरुद्रजय मूर्धा ते विपति स्थिति वेद्वा अहम गौतम तत्सूत्रम तत् च अंतर्यामिनी इति यो वा इदं कश्चित् ब्रूयाद वेद वेद इति यथा वेतत् ततः ब्रूहिति. And the translation of this long mantra starts with on the page 228. Then Udlak, the son of Aruna, questioned him. Yajnavalkya, he said, in Madra, We dwelt in the house of Patanjal, Kapya, of the line of Kapi, studying sacrificial scriptures. His wife was possessed by a Gandharva. We asked the Gandharva, "Who are you?" He said, "I am Kaband, the son of Atharvan." He said to Patanjal Kapya and those studying sacrifices, Kapya, do you know that sutra by which this world, the next world, and all beings are strung together? Patanjal Kapya said, I do not know it, Venerable Sir. The Gandharv said to him and those studying sacrifices, Kapya, do you know that inner controller who dwelling within governs this life, the next life, and all beings? Patanjal Kapya said, I do not know him, Venerable Sir. The Gandharv said to him and the students, whoever knows that sutra and that inner controller, as above is a knower of Brahma, the Supreme Self, a knower of worlds, a knower of the gods, a knower of the Vedas, a knower of beings, a knower of the self, and knower of all. He described both to them. I know that meditation on both. If you, Yagyavalkya, without knowing that sutra and that inner controller, remove the cows meant for the knowers of Brahm, your head shall fall off. I know, O Gautam, that sutra and that inner controller. Anybody may indeed say, I know. Tell us what you know. Okay. So Yagyavalkya is saying, I know it. Who the Sutraman is and who the Antaryami is. So that's why another Rishi, he says, anybody can say that I know. You got to prove it to us. So this is the conversation between those. And sacrifices, we know sacrifices means the yajnas. They were just learning how to perform different yajnas. Okay, so that's a sacrifice. And we saw in the previous section, there was a question put in by Gargi. And Gargi, how satisfied she was with the answer of Yagyavalkya. And that's why now Udalak, the son of Aruni, is asking this question. And he has started his question by narrating an incident in his life, which happened long time ago. He was with some others, and they were all living in the house of Patanjal Kapya. Okay, so it's just like some king. See, the rich people, the kings, the leaders, the rulers, they upheld this Vedic knowledge. Not only they did it themselves, performed all these rituals, they wanted to propagate it too, spread it, and they invited other people. So this Patanjal Kapya is a descendant of Kapi, ruler of the land of Madra. Madra Desh, I'm sure you have heard that. So they were studying about the sacrifices. And Patanjal's wife was possessed by a celestial spirit. And out of curiosity, they inquired about that spirit, and they found out that spirit is a Gandharva. And that Gandharva's name is Kaband, who is the son of Atharva. And the spirit of Gandharva asked Patanjal Kapya and his pupils whether they knew that cosmic being, the Sutraman, in whom this world of ours and the other world of gods and mains and all beings from Brahma, the creator, down to an ant are strung together. Okay? So what is that thread? What is that power which is everywhere? This is what they wanted to know. It's almost like the beads in a thread. Beads are seen, but the thread is not seen in a well-strung necklace. The same is over here in this manifested world. We see the manifested things, but what is that thread? And that's why he called it a sutraman. And Patanjali did not know about that being. And that's why he just said, no, I don't know. Again, that spirit asked whether they knew the Antaryami, the inner controller, who controls this world and the other worlds also. All beings from within as a puppet by a string. This also Patanjali knew nothing about. So that's why he said, I don't know. And the spirit of Kabandh told Patanjali and his disciples that one who knows that Sutraman and the Antaryami, inner controller, is a knower of Brahma, knower of worlds, knower of gods, knower of Vedas, knower of beings, and knower of the self and all the universe. So this is what he explained to those who were present there. The inner controller. So Udlak over here informed Yajnavalkya that he knew all about that being. Do you know about that? Do you know anything about that? Because that Gandharva knew, do you know? So if he did not know the cosmic inner controller whom that Gandharva revealed, and you are taking away the cows, and these cows are meant only for the most learned person. So you have to tell us, not just with the words, explain it to us. Otherwise, accept the defeat and you have to return the cows. And you remember how much gold was attached to the cows. And Yajnavalkya unassumingly said that he knew the cosmic thread, the Sutraman. And he knew the inner controller, the Antaryami also. But the Udlak was not satisfied. He just wanted to know the truth of Yajnavalkya's statement through an exposition. So he compelled him to prove that you know. Because anybody can say that I know, but prove it to us. Explain it to us before this learned assembly. Okay, so this is how this section is starting. Let's see how Yajnavalkya is explaining this. So verse number 2, page number 229. Sa ha uvach Vayurvehe Gautam tat sutram Vayunave Gautam sutre nayam cha lokaha prashach lokaha sarvani cha bhutani sadam dani bhavanti tasmat ve Gautam purusham pretam huvar strihi tasyehe angan इति वायुना हि गौतम सूत्रेण संदभाने भवन्ति इति एवं एतत् याज्ञवल्क्यः अंतर्यामिनं ब्रूहुति. He said, so who is he? Yajnavalkya. So Yajnavalkya said, Vayu, O Gautam, is verily that sutra. It is by this sutra, that is Vayu or Gautama, that this world, the next world, and all beings are strung together. For this very reason, O Gautama, they say of a dead man that his limbs are loosened because they are strung together by the sutra, that is Vayu. It is indeed so, Yajnavalkya. Now tell us about the inner controller, the Antaryami. So Yajnavalkya, in the course of explanation, declared that the air, Vayu is the air, the cosmic vital force, to be the cosmic thread. And he established his statement by means of logical arguments. See, logic is always encouraged. It's not just a blind faith. Okay, it's a logic behind these arguments. The cosmic vital force holds all this world, the other worlds, and all beings together. Just as various gems are held together by a central thread passing through all of them. This cosmic principle pervades all these in and through. As water pervades the earth, or clay pervades a part which is made out of clay. So in this great principle, all worlds from earth up to Virat, mentioned in the preceding sections, we learned that word Virat, are woven just like a cloth is woven with a thread. Every part of the cloth is, there is a thread crisscrossing. So this subtle being cannot be ascertained by inference or any logical disquisition. It can be known only from scriptural injunctions. And those scriptural injunctions, when we understand or hear it from the mouth of our Guru, it makes more sense. It was revealed to Patanjali and his students by the spirit of Kabandh that it is sublime pran, very subtle, all-encompassing, who sports the subtle principle in the subtle individual body, the body which is constituted of 5 elements, 10 organs, 5 prans, fourfold mind, storehouse of the subtle impressions, which are the karmas, the pran. The material and external forms of this principle, they say the 49 maruts. So this Vayu in the scriptures is called Marut. There are different names for it. That is a presiding deities of air. And it's by this cosmic principle alone all that exists, and it's held together also. And if it were not so, these worlds and these beings would have been scattered and would have been perished. See, just like the gems or the flowers in a garland in the absence of the central string. When this cosmic principle leaves the individual body, the person is said to be dead and the limbs get loosened. Udlak accepted the explanation of Yajnavalkya in regard to the Sutraman. But he demanded a similar explanation about the inner controller, Antaryami. Because I told you that there are two parts of his question. So about the sutra, he is satisfied. Let's see how Yajnavalkya explains the Antaryami also. Let's look at verse number 3. Grit, and this is page number 230. Ya prithivyam tishtan prithivyah antrah yam prithvi naved yasya prithvi shariram ya prithvim antroho yamye iti eshat atma antaryami amritah. He who dwells in earth, but is within it, whom earth does not know, whose body is earth, and who controls earth from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. So over here in this mantra, Yajnavalkya explained or started to explain the inner controller, Antaryami. And this explanation extends up to the end of this section. Actually, there are several mantras continuously he keep on repeating different elements. He takes earth, water, fire, space, wind, and heaven, sun, quarters, moon, stars, sky, darkness, light, all beings, and the vital force, the speech, eye, ear, mind, skin, intelligence, and semen, one by one in these mantras. And he tells those rishis in this set of beautiful passages about their common and eminent reality. That's what we're going to go through, all of them, and learn the controller who controls from within. These are great verses to meditate upon. To really, it's one thing is to just read about these and get fascinated about it. But another thing is to meditate upon it and make it your own experience. These are not just the words. This is the self who is known as the inner controller. That's where he's taking our mind to. The immortal, whom the Gandharv spirit revealed to Patanjal, Udlak, and others. He said he dwells in the earth as the cause pervades or inheres in the effect in its entirety. Still, he is other than the earth. See, in this particular verse, he's talking about Prithvi, the earth element. As the cause differs from the effect by the virtue of this obvious modification. He is within the earth as its very self, the inner controller, the immortal. That's what he's telling. Though pervading the earth, he is not tainted by the names and forms. He is beyond the range of knowledge of even the presiding deity of the earth. An effect cannot afford to know the nature of its cause. So the earth may be said to be the body of this principle, but even as an effect can be said to be embodying the cause. He controls the earth, Yajnavalkya says. How? From within, and directs it to perform its definite function. And what is the function of earth? The element earth, the smell. Function. Every element, they got their function. And who is directing it? This Antaryami. So the difference between the individual Jeev and the Brahma is due to the phenomena of upadhis. Upadhis are these limitations, or it's called limiting adjuncts. The difference between the inner controller and the individual Jeev is merely the product of ignorance. We have forgotten. Because of this ignorance, this avidya, we just identify ourselves with the body, with the names, with the forms. So it has its root in the unreal limiting adjuncts consisting of the body. And body is also, there are some essential constituents which are the products of the ignorance. These are also called conditioning factors, these upadhis. So these conditioning factors are caused by the ignorance of the real nature of the self, which is only one. It's non-dual. It is conceived as separate when we identify ourselves as the Jivatma. But actually it's one. This is where Yajnavalkya is taking our attention to. The inner controller, the immortal, the eminent reality, although perceived as many and different, is not really so. It is the same. So now he is going to, there's a series of these verses from verse number 4 all the way towards the end. We are going to just look at it, which examples he's giving. So verse number 4, he talks about water. Yo apsuhu tishtan adhyo antraha yam apo na vidu yasyapaha shariram yo apoho antraho yam itihi eshacha antar atma antaryamihim amritaha. He who dwells in water, but is within it, whom water does not know, whose body is water, and who controls water from within, is the inner controller. Your own self and immortal. Okay, so I'm sure you can understand that these examples, so many examples he's giving because we are familiar with these examples. We have not experienced the inner controller, but he's telling us inner controller is the same in all of them. Now, next verse, verse number 5, he talks about Agni now, the fire element. Yo agnyaho tishtan antrentraha yam agnirved yasya agni shariram yo agnim antraho yameti eshat atma antaryamihi amritaha. He who dwells in the fire, but is within it, whom fire does not know. See, just like I was telling you, the effect cannot know the cause. So the fire does not know whose body is fire, and who controls fire from within is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. See, normally when we look at the fire, we see only the flames, the color of the flames, the height of the flames, or even the warmth of the fire. But he is taking our attention deeper inside, antaryame. यो अंतरिक्षे तिष्ठन् अंतरिक्षाद अंतरः यम अंतरिक्षम न वेद यस्य अंतरिक्षम शरीरम यो अंतरिक्षम अंतरो यमेति एषत आत्म अंतर्यामे अमृतः. He who dwells in the sky, antariksha, but is within it, whom the sky does not know, whose body is the sky, and who controls the sky from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. यो वायोः तिष्ठन् अयो अन्तरः यम वायुन वेद यस्य वायु शरीरम यो वायु मंत्रो यमिति एषत आत्म अंतर्यामिः अमृतः. He who dwells in the air but is within it, whom the air does not know, whose body is the air, and who controls the air from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. Yo divi tishthan sho antraha yam dhyonar ved yasya dhyo shariram yo divam antraho yamitihi eshat atam antaryamihi amritaha. He who dwells in heaven but is within it, whom heaven does not know, whose body is heaven, and who controls heaven from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. Verse number 9. Ya adityehe tishtan aditya antraha yam adityo na ved yasya adityaha shriram ya adityam antraho yam iti eshta atam antaryamihi amritaha. He who dwells in the sun, aditya is sun, but is within it, whom the sun does not know, whose body is the sun, and who controls the sun from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. Yo dikshuhu tishthan digbhyo antraha yam disho na vidu yasya disha shariram yo disho antraho yameti eshta atam antaryamihi amrita. He who dwells in the directions but is within them, whom the directions do not know, whose body is the directions, and who controls the directions from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. So beautifully, he is explaining the oneness everywhere. Oneness. Verse number 11. Yat chandra tarkehe tishtan tarkaha antraha yam chandra tarkam na ved yase chandra tarkam shariram yat chandra tarkam antraho yam iti eshata atam antaryamihi amritaha. He who dwells in the moon and stars. See, Chandra is the moon, Tark, that is the stars. He who dwells in the moon and stars but is within them, whom the moon and stars do not know, whose body is the moon and the stars, and who controls the moon and stars from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. Ya akashe tishtan akashad antraha yam akasho na ved यस्य आकाशा शरीरम य आकाशम अंतरो यम इति एषत आत्म अंतर्यामी अमृतः. He who dwells in the ether, Akash is the ether element, the space, but is within it, whom the ether does not know, whose body is the ether, and who controls the ether from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. Yat tamsihi tishtam tamsoh antraha yam tamo na ved yasya tama shariram yat tamo antraho yam itihi eshat atam antaryamihi amritaha. He who dwells in darkness, tam is the darkness, but is within it, whom darkness does not know, whose body is darkness, who controls darkness from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. There is no place where this inner controller is not. Yat tejasihi tishtam tejo antraha yam tejo na ved yasya tejaha shariram ya tejo antraho yam iti eshat atam antaryamihi amritaha iti adhidevatam ath adhibhutam. He who dwells in light but is within it. See, tej means light. He who dwells in light but is within it, whom light does not know, whose body is light and who controls light from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. This is with reference to the deities now and reference to beings. Because the deities are called, we see the tej in them, the light shining from them. Okay. Ya sarveshu bhuteshu tishtan sarvebhyo bhut abhyo antra yam sarvani bhutani navidu yasya sarvani bhutani shariram ya sarvani bhut antrayatroho yam iti eshat atam antaryami amrita iti adhibhutam ath adhyatmam. He who dwells in all beings but is within them, whom none of the beings knows, whose body is all beings, and who controls all beings from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. And this is with reference to beings, now with reference to the body. Ya pranehe tishtan pranad antraha yam prano na ved yasya prana shriram ya pranam antraho yam iti eshta atam antaryamihi amritaha. He who dwells in the nose but is within it, whom the nose does not know, whose body is the nose, and who controls the nose from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. Yo vachihi tishtan vacho antraha yam vangan ved yasya vak shariram yo vacham antraho yameti esht atma antaryami amrita. He who dwells in the vocal organ but is within it, whom the vocal organ does not know, whose body is the vocal organ and who controls the vocal organ from within, is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal. Let's stop it here. There are a few more verses left, so we'll finish it up next week. But you can see how beautifully he's taking our attention to that one.
Yeah.
One antaryami everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's end it.
In very simple words, tell us who controls the eye from within is the inner controller, your own self, and immortal, because this is the sentence repeated
Yes,
throughout.
definitely.
And so
Let
इसको
me end this, then we can have a discussion. Okay.
okay.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you.